Yeah?
Riley, it's Tom!
I thought you only get one phone call from jail. Who's this?
Huey, I got arrested! They say I fit the description. I think it's because I'm black, Huey. You have to get me out of here, Huey. You don't want to know what they'll do to me in jail.
They'll rape you, that's what they're gonna do. But you're not in jail, you're in holding. And I don't think people usually get raped in holding. Hold on. Granddad, do people get raped in holding?
Welcome back to the latest edition of our Boondocks side series. This is Aaron, of course.
Hey, your boy, mister.
So we're just, this is episode 5, A Date with the Health Inspector. This episode addresses a lot of different aspects of the justice system, as in regards to black people, and also in regards to America's kind of view on just with foreign diplomacy. It's kind of like an episode just Boondocks is a satire, we all know that, but this episode basically is in I guess putting that stuff in perspective and just giving you, they're making it funny. So without further ado, with all the blabbering, the opening scene basically is Tom's in jail. This is in the midst of a dream. Tom's in jail, dreaming that he's in jail and that he's about to get anally raped. So as you know, this is, if going forward, this is Tom's basically biggest fear. They make jokes about it all the time.
This kind of becomes the basis for his character in general.
Exactly.
That he's such a goody two-shoes because he's solely afraid of going to prison.
Exactly.
Or jail and getting anally raped.
Yeah. And it's crazy because Huey pointed out in the beginning, it's ironic that he's a prosecuting attorney and he's scared of going to jail, but he has no problem sending other people to that same which is really
really telling, because that's the truth. It's like, especially like with now, like the shit going on now, like black cops and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? It comes back around in the way that you would never want to be harassed by the cops or anything like that. But you see, I won't even just say black cops, but the POCs, people of color that are cops, that, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy that just sat there and watched George Floyd, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. Like, damn, bro, you're the very antithesis of what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like that is a very telling thing about, especially minorities that get into like justice lanes, I guess, that aren't directly like public defense or just defense in general. If it's anything that is going to uphold the law of the land, you really kind of turned on your people, no matter how you view it usually.
Yeah. And that's really what this episode is about. It really gives you the eyes of the law and the person being affected by it from so many different perspectives. Yeah. So the reason why this is key, the episode itself is about the Xbox killer. Yeah. And Tom basically gets accused of the killing that guy was doing, and basically gets sent to jail, actual jail.
Real
so this
jail.
is kind of like
butt pounding jail, as he puts it.
And you can't even be mad at him because it happens.
Exactly. He's like, to the jail. Like Huey says to him, like, statistically, if a man is to get raped, it's going to be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? His fear is, it's definitely irrational. Like, if you're a good person, going to prison and getting anally raped should become a fear that becomes irrational and subsides after a while. But I guess it's logical. Yeah. It's a logical fear at the very least.
Oh, yeah. And then, so while this is after Tom is arrested and all that stuff, he calls up Riley, sobbing like a little bitch from jail. He calls up Riley, he calls the Freeman house. Riley just answered it. He said, "I'm in jail." Riley just laughs and says, "Don't drop the soap."
Don't drop the soap.
So it's just after that takes place. So they finally parlay and get Huey in the fold, because Huey is if you've been keeping up with Boondocks, and you'll see over the course of episodes, I know we're still in the early stages somewhat, But Huey is kind of like the de facto problem solver for everything they do.
He's the moral, not high ground, but he is the middle ground. Like, Huey's character is always the bring it back center.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how wild it gets, Huey is the kind of general normal morale.
Yeah.
There's a term for it, but he's the character that brings it all back when it starts to get out of control. But go ahead, my bad.
Yeah. No, you good. So basically, after because another funny thing, when they said, he said, Huey, I need your help, or so I'm paraphrasing here. So he was like, nigga, I'm 10.
Yeah, he said, what do you expect?
That was one
of
the fun. Oh man, that was one of the funniest movies not movies.
One of the
parts of the
lines,
episode.
I say, one of the funniest lines on the episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that is fucking hilarious. When they actually actualize it, that's the first time they actualize what Huey means. Like, he's the most important person in the neighborhood, and he's 10 fucking years old.
Yeah.
Like, you're in jail and you call a 10. Like, I mean, I guess he called, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Granddad, but you know what I'm saying?
He really was trying to call it. I think he was trying to call it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He still was at least willing to work with Huey. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, I'll take it.
So after all that, and Huey was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll see what I can do.
I'll see what I can do.
Next thing you know, they run up. They try to go get some help, and of all the people they could pick, they pick Ed Wuncler.
And we know from previous episodes, episode 1, that Ed is irresponsible as shit. Especially with children. He let a kid, Riley, shoot him out of however many stories.
3 stories.
In the first episode of the series. So we know from the get-go that Ed Wuncler, he has the capabilities. He might have the firepower, but he is for sure probably, help me out here, crazy in some sense.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a loose screw.
Yeah.
So after they talk with him, he said, well, I got this guy. If we're going to do this, I need my boy to help.
Yeah.
And then they meet Mr. Gin Rummy.
Godly. Voiced by
Samuel L. Jackson.
And if it's fucking, go ahead. You go ahead. This is hilarious. Go ahead.
So they're in the kitchen. They basically just talking all this shit. And then they basically, Rummy goes off on this long, like, psychopathic tangent, and right then you can see Huey Riley like, man, what did we just get ourselves into? So nevertheless, the investigation starts, and they're basically going through. Ed and Rummy are basically, while Huey and Riley are doing actual investigating, try to get Tom off. Like, Ed and Rummy basically go on a whole tirade through the city, basically just breaking into people's houses, put guns
in their faces.
Ed shot one.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking terrorizing people for no reason, for no good reason. Random ass people.
They all get back to whipping. They're like, no one's seen anything.
They try to play it off like they won't, just out there whipping people's ass, not asking questions, just whipping people's ass. Yeah. And so they get that far, and Huey and Riley, who, like you said, have actually been doing work, are like, of course they didn't fucking know anything because you didn't ask them anything. Unlike me, I found out who the Xbox killer was. You know what I'm saying? Because I asked people questions, and Riley's like, I even got a picture of the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
That was wild. Like, it took them all of 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah,
probably.
Exactly. To get all that shit done while they were out there trying to whip ass. And for what? You know what I'm saying?
So nevertheless, Huey's already halfway fed up with this whole situation by now.
Oh yeah.
So they finally get to the point where they're coming over and they know where the killer is now.
Yeah.
Then Ed.
In fact, somebody had just seen him like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. He said he been bragging about it all day.
Yeah, exactly.
So they finally on the way, and Ed and Rummy just like, they take a stop. They say it won't take long.
Yeah. They just stop into the store type shit. You know, when somebody tell you they just stop into the store, just make it a quick stop. It's about to be some shit.
So first thing they do, they go in there. Obviously, it's a Arab guy, and you see where this is going already.
Yeah, automatically.
So like you say, oh, okay.
They go in there, they get some beer,
and this is the funny part about when they got the beer. And it's like I didn't really think about the laugh at it when I first saw the episode. It's like the man didn't even question that Riley was 8 and had 2 beers. It wasn't the fact that he was 8 and had the beer. He said, "Whoa, you gotta pay for it."
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he didn't care that Riley was
you can't out here. You just kept
exactly. You can definitely touch it. You can bring it out. You can have the beer as long as you got the money for it. Fuck the fact that you're 8 years old. Yeah, I didn't even think about that too either. Yeah, I never caught that either. That's fucking hilarious.
So obviously, so then they don't pay for it. They don't pay for it. They end up robbing the actual store and getting in a whole big ass shootout. And I think before it happened, he was like, "Aladdin Hussein, you know I'm good for it."
Yeah,
he was like, "No, they're robbing the store, bro."
Yeah,
like,
exactly. They just start terrorizing the guy, and there's a security guard in there, and this is the really telling part. Before everything pops off, they point the guns at the store owner. And they're like, "Look, he's got a gun. He's got a gun." When obviously the store owner doesn't have a gun. And so the cop is looking at him like, "I don't see a gun. I don't." So they go back and forth until finally the cop agrees. And that's when this whole shootout massacre starts happening.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is kind of a big drawback to everything that was happening in Iraq during that time, because this was 2005.
Yeah.
You do got to remember. So you got these 2 Iraq veterans that are coming there with all this fear and animosity built up towards, the xenophobia towards however you want to put it. And their PTSD mixed with their fear, just mixed with their overt nationalism and everything that's going on with this time, allowed them to get to the boiling point and convince other totally innocent bystanders that were totally uninvolved and just clear-thinking people to kind of hive mind, mob mentality, into accusing this one guy who was totally innocent, you know what I'm saying, of having a gun just so that they could go in and do whatever the fuck they wanted to, just based off that claim.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how the climate or the sentiment was to how the United States dealt with the war overseas and stuff like that. And they did such a good job with this episode putting that together, because it's almost like they've made 3 different points about the justice system and how it targets and is unfair to blacks, the PTSD, and the fact that America, you know what I'm saying, that sentiment of whole like being reckless and stuff like that. So they really did, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's funny, but they never. The great thing I like about Boondocks, where it's funny, but you never miss the points that they're trying to make.
Exactly, unless you're stupid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you always get the really serious points when they're trying to make them, or even if it is funny, you understand the context behind what they're saying.
Exactly.
Which I think that's something, because sometimes like you can get lost in comedies, you know what I'm saying, of this nature, thinking it's just all fun and games. But this episode, they really did a good job with
They brought that back, especially when they leave the store after everything. Cops have been killed, innocent lives have been wasted and stuff like that. They walk out and it's just, "Oh, what the fuck you looking at?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's going about their day type shit.
Yeah.
After causing all that trouble, just like America would.
And the way I think this episode, I think it really shows us about how much fear can control certain factors of our society.
Yeah.
Them having PTSD, that can be a biological thing as well. Yeah. Obviously, you know, trauma and stuff, but you know, saying based around the fear of, you know what I'm saying, like, whoa, you look like the guys that I was, you know, fucking up overseas. Like, you know what I'm saying? That fear. Tom's fear
was just getting anally raped. Like that.
Exactly.
He just wanted no dick in his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally all it came down to. But it ruined his life.
Yeah. His whole fear of that really guided his whole entire
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what led, becoming a lawyer and shit like that.
Exactly.
And I think it has something to do with, I think people think once they get in a particular bracket of society, and this is more on the black issue side.
Yeah.
It shields them, but this episode was showing you that it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much. And if you look at the end of the episode, like you see the description of the dude that they actually caught, it ain't look nothing like Tom. It didn't look nothing like Tom.
It's just the only thing they had in common was that they were black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing they had in common.
Hell yeah. So, but yeah, that is just really, I really am proud of this episode. Like that's why it's really one of my favorite episodes, because it's like it has the most content, because most of the episodes focus on one particular issue, but this kind of broaden the scale.
Yeah, this does bring in a lot of fucking things, and like you said, brings them in seamlessly and flawlessly, because by the end of the episode, you know what I'm saying, it's all wrapped up, and a lot actually happens in this episode without having a lot happen, if that makes any type of sense. Like you said, it's just a very poignant episode, just repeatedly teaching lessons, like just the simple fact of Huey actually finding the Xbox killer just from talking to people, because Petey, he's been bragging about it. Like he said, he's been bragging about it all day. Instead of just going around harassing people, you know, beating people up, if you would just ask motherfuckers some questions, you would have found out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, this is, like you said, rather, this is one of the more multi-layered episodes of Boondocks. I don't know. I think it's not in my top 5, but it's definitely up there for me.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, all I gotta say is, don't drop the soap. If you do go to prison, try not to get anally raped. Shout out Tom Dubois.
Absolutely.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, don't let it be you. Just don't let it be you, ladies.
And don't let fear run your life.
Yeah.
Don't let your fear run your life.
Absolutely.
If you got PTSD, get some counseling. Just saying.
But yeah, we're going to get on out of here. Let us guys know what you think about our review of this episode, and what you think about the episode in general. And as always, follow the Simple Math page on all platforms. And then we'll see you guys next episode.
Peace.
Peace.